Greetings, salutations, and a very hearty hello to everybody. Welcome to League Unlocked. It's Eric and Mark here with you guys, and the previews for the 2019 World Championship rolls on. We are a few days away from the group draw happening, and once that happens, obviously, we'll preview and speculate who's going to get out, where the groups of death are. But before we get there, we got to talk about the play-in teams. We got to talk about the minor regions because, you know, the big ones, Damwon, Clutch, Splice, you're familiar with them. You know their journeys and how they got here.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've already talked about those teams quite a bit, and of course talked about their regions and what's gone on. But now is time for a bit of that attention here as we get closer towards the draw and towards the play-in event to talk about some of these minor region teams here because, hey, you got to make it through this event first, and this is really that time of year here where we get the minor regions. This is the time to shine. This is that time where you get to put up your very best that you've had this year here, come out with some of those unique strategies that only have kind of developed here in your region, bring it to the world stage, and maybe get a couple of upsets here against the big boys.
Yeah, and you know those three major regions are the huge favorites to get out, but there's still one more spot that will be up for grabs. And first team we want to take a look at is probably the most recognizable brand at the entire event. It is, of course, Unicorns of Love making their World Championship debut. No, it's not from the European LCS, but it just feels good to see that logo again.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly carry the same weight as you would if they had made it in a different, more major region at this point. But hey, we are still taking it all counting here. Unicorns of Love finally getting that trip here off to Worlds, taking it down here this time, and you're getting them here in this event here, and I think that it's kind of fitting seeing some of the former members make it through here on other squads.
Yeah, you're going to be reunited Hillisang against them, maybe assuming they get to the main stage again. Visit Chachi's going, but to get here, they beat Vega Squadron 3-2 in the LCL finals, and the interesting storyline here is obviously Unicorn stole Vega's jungler and mid laner from the spring split in No Man's, and I'm calling him Pineapple because I don't want to try and say ahaha chick again. But Pineapple and No Man's came over and they defeated their former squad in the finals, which obviously they were pretty jazzed about.
Oh yeah, definitely excited for sure. Seeing them get through, book that ticket means a lot to these players, of course. And the big one here, again, giving that shout outs over to No Man's, I think he is certainly going to be the player that you're having to look through on this Unicorns of Love roster, trying to expect some bigger carry performances from him if they're going to be looking to carry on any further.
Yeah, and obviously Edward also on this roster of Gambit. He's the big veteran, his fourth Worlds that he's going to here. He's only gotten to the main stage that one time. But yeah, No Man's and Pineapple coming over obviously was huge for the Unicorns. They still have Sheepy as their coach. But No Man's, he completely destroyed the entire split. 16 solo kills was 7 or 8 more than the second highest on that squad. And we saw even last year coming in, at MSI coming into that event, we talked about him on Vega as one of the players to watch, and he has still been destroying the LCL.
Right, and he's certainly one of these players that, again, gets those solo kills, gets that individual outplay, and looks to take that advantage there and push even further in lane, create that CS differential there, get stronger, and then help the rest of the team snowball. That is the play here, and that is what you want to be seeing if you're the Unicorns of Love fans here. Getting him ahead here, get that advantage, start pushing the gold, and that's your victory path.
The problem with you see a lot in these minor regions, a lot of solo kills. You've seen it in Vietnam a lot as well. And that's usually just the best of that league completely outclassing opposing solo laners in their region. And we have seen, when you go up against the bigger stage against other world-class talent, those solo kills don't necessarily work out to the same level. If No Man's is matching up against Showmaker, is he going to solo kill him? No, probably not, unless there is some kind of misplay. But that's still what you want to be looking for the Unicorns. The other big region coming into this event, obviously Turkey. We love talking about the TCL, and Royal Youth are the representatives from Turkey. No Supermassive, which means no Wolf reunion with Faker and SKT, which is sad, but Royal Youth earned their spot here.
Hey, if Bang has to sit on the sidelines here with the rest of 100 Thieves, you're not
He's been on the sidelines for 2 months.
We're not going to be getting Wolf here at this one with Supermassive, as everyone has become familiar with coming out of the TCL. It is going to be Royal Youth and the performance that they've been given off this year to get here. It's impressive because you have to be considering what was stacked against them here in this region. getting to this point right now here for them certainly does feel like a victory, but you got to get over that hump there. We've been looking at Supermassive. We've been wanting them to get onwards into that main stage. Hopefully here for the TCL, it's going to be Royal Youth pushing on forward.
Yeah, and they dominated the entire split. It's been several splits in a row where they've come up short against Supermassive. Coming into this year, they made the change. GBM and Dumbledoge, arguably the two biggest names on that team, are out. In come the new players for them, and obviously it worked out pretty darn well for them. Closer got MVP of the split in the jungle, and 4/5 of the entire roster, everybody except for the top lane there, made it to the All-Pro squad in the TCL. So excited for them, and hopefully they can carry that dominance over to the play-in stage. Again, Turkey is always near the top when we're talking about emerging minor regions.
Right, and you're looking at this type of team, this club here, to try and push on forward here, get through the play-in stage. And I think here, if you're looking for Royal to make it on through, it's going to have to be from Closer in the jungle here. And I think the one thing, again, playing into their favor is, of course, he is their MVP. He's the player that they want to be playing through, getting those advantages. What they want to be doing here at this point in the stage and try to get these upset, needing those big performances from your jungler here. But hey, we've seen that before in this play-in scenario here. A player like that being able to make just enough of a difference here, pull off the upsets.
Yeah, and he may be the MVP for them, but I think maybe the most important for them in this play-in stage is going to be Pilot in that bottom lane, because I think he can get there at the world-class level. We've seen him play in the LCK, and he was actually pretty damn good in the LCK at times. He just had the unfortunate honor of playing on MVP and Jin Air, but that was when Jin Air was actually okay. You know, they weren't going 0-18 in their season. So I think
those were some glad playing years there.
Yeah.
And Pilot is certainly part of the reason that they were there, certainly being able to put together some of those performances. And hey, again, stacking up against the ADCs that we had been seeing at the LCK at that time here certainly means that he is a player of the caliber good enough to be a difference maker here for this club in the plans.
And for all the flack we give Jin Air, by the way, they have churned out some pretty good AD carries. You got Pilot, Teddy, obviously, and even Root now. He's pretty solid. So Jin Air, they did something right.
Hey, got to be doing something right there for so long and making the change here. And Pilot looking to continue on the Jin Air legacy here, this time at Worlds.
Yeah, he'll have to play at a pretty high level if they want to have a chance to get out of groups, especially depending who they're matching up against, because there's also some pretty good AD carries on the other side. When you're talking Cody Sun, Kabe, even Nuclear there on Damwon. The other team we want to touch on that, you know, has a decent chance, I think, of finishing in that 4th spot comes from the Japanese scene, the LJL. It is Detonation, Focus Me, and they, listen, we've been talking about them for a little bit now, where we've seen them at international events, and they've looked, you know, pretty good. They gave Cloud9 a run for their money. They were at MSI. They finished 4-2, 1 spot out of that final spot, and I mean, they win Japan again. They just keep winning. It's pretty much the exact same roster, and this might be the time they finally take that step and make it to the main stage.
That's what you're looking for here from Detonation Focus Me. It's an interesting name here and one that sticks in your mind because you've seen it before at these type of events in these play-ins, and you've been hoping, wishing for them to kind of take that final step again. One of those squads here that has been so close to being of these minor regions, being able to push on through, get to that main play-in stage, provide that underdog story, but it hasn't exactly come to fruition completely quite yet, but they definitely have another shot here this time here in play-ins, looking hungry to get through.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, we always talk about emerging regions. We just talked about Turkey, but Japan is one that I think is also getting higher up there, and they've been importing Koreans for a pretty long time now. And the player you want to check out on DFM, there's a couple, you know who the carries are here, and it's not necessarily always Zeros in that mid lane, but we talked about this at MSI. The guy loves playing Heimerdinger. It doesn't matter what the meta is, 4-0 on it this split, and he might not be the featured guy a lot of the time. That's Udapon who's going to pop off, or Eevee in that top lane. But this guy's champion pool is so much fun. 4 Heimer games. He's played Ziggs. He played Shyvana mid AP, but that was more of a troll game. But he goes outside of the box.
Hey, it's not exactly the same as having the kind of the power that we had seen last year with Hjarnen's Heimerdinger heading over to Worlds, but this is absolutely the time to raise your dongers because you're going to get some Heimerdinger most likely here in the play-in type of situation. This is here where if teams are not doing their homework against Detonation Focus Me, this is the type of champion pool, like you said, the Ziggs, the Heimerdinger, these type of champions can't sneak up on you, and they're absolutely lethal in their hands here with Detonation Focus Me. But you're right, Udapon certainly is the name that you might recognize here as being the big carry. But hey, can't forget about these interesting champions, what play-ins is all about here. Give us some of that spice with Detonation Focus Me.
Especially in Season 9, it's all about picking something wacky and trying to throw your opponent off. Coming up after the break, plenty of more teams to go through, and it's Brazil again with a little bit of hype. Can they finally make some noise on the international stage? Hello friends, we have returned to League Unlocked looking at these minor region teams. It is Meet the Team episode for the play-in stage. Everybody knows the Gigabyte Marines, but what about the second seed from Vietnam? They don't get to go right into the main stage. They got to play through play-ins like all the other minor regions, and it's not Team Flash or Flash Team, which was Evo's eSports. It's low-key eSports, and they are very low-key in what you expect them to do at the minor stage.
This is the time for your cheesiness warning here, because I'm telling you, there's not exactly a ton of reasons to be high-key excited here for Loki's performance.
You're not low-key excited.
Yeah, you're pretty much.
But when you say it fast enough, it sounds like Loki from Thor. So that's cool.
So we're gonna have to pay Marvel for that one for sure. That is yikes. Got to be careful with that one. But it is the low-key esports squad rolling in through. You're right. They did take down Flash, which was a Vivos type of situation, and now you're left here with low-key rolling through as your number 2 seed here from the VCS, and of course having Gigabyte already into the main draw, looking here for your second squad to make it through, and that is going to be all up to low-key to make sure that that happens.
And they did also beat the Dashing Buffalo 3-0 in that losers bracket before they beat Flash 3-1, and they closed it out on a penta.
They were collecting the check there from Carlos, making sure that G2 faces no Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, respect for doing that. And, you know, the Marines might be an issue as well. Maybe it's more so for Fnatic, but, I mean, these guys used to be Friends Forever Gaming, which is still one of the greatest teams.
That is the real end game here for everyone thinking about what. It doesn't matter what type of game you're playing, what genre. The real end game is, of course, the friend game.
Friends stay together. They're obviously not nearly as hyped as the Marines, but who knows? The Vietnamese scene is absolutely crazy. Wouldn't be shocked if they made some noise here at the play-in stage. Next thing we want to look at is from Brazil, and listen, the Brazilian scene, for a couple of years, it was only them going as the wild cards when it was Pain or INTZ. This year it is FLAMENGO eSports, and you remember, we wanted to see this team at MSI. By the way, the capital S is a tragedy and should not be allowed for a professional organization to have that in their logo.
I don't know how, at this point in time in esports, and yes, that's esports without a capital S that I'm pronouncing here. You got to remember that, of course, we've already decided at this point that is not how we're rolling through with esports, but it is, yes, still a reason to be excited here for FLAMENGO. We've been wanting to see them come through here for the Brazilian scene, and we know that Brazil is one of these regions here that has provided us with quite a lot of excitement as a play-in team in this wild card type of situation here. This was a
look at their intro, man.
Crazy hype intro, of course. You gotta give the shout outs there. The Jin playing on the piano. Love seeing things like that. Always love seeing my boy Jin there getting a bit of the spotlight. And getting the spotlight here for FLAMENGO is going to be BRTT. That is what you're looking for here. That is where the damage is coming through, and that is where that star power is for FLAMENGO.
Yeah, one of the most famous, recognized icons in the Brazilian scene. And they also got Shrimp, and a great Dignitas jungler, and he actually has been killing it in the Brazilian
Dignitas
scene.
reunion, man, telling you.
He's coming back to clutch, and he knows none of the players on there. But you remember, these guys went 20-1 in the regular season in spring, didn't go to MSI. Everyone was disappointed. They bounced back. Regular season, they take a step back, but they still perform well in the playoffs. We get to see them on the international stage, and I think they look pretty good. I think they have a decent chance of getting that 4th spot.
They should be again here. One of these squads here coming in through the play-in event here. Minor region type of team, but you still got to give them that attention, still give them the respect here. They are a team to be reckoned with here at this point in the play-ins, looking to get on even further at Worlds.
And we know that nobody believes the LMS should have 3 seeds, especially after what happened in 2018. But they do have 3 seeds. J-Team, AHQ are already in to the main draw. There's no Flash Wolves, and that is because Hong Kong Attitude eliminated them in the regional finals, and they did it in dominant fashion. It was 3-0 for them. This is the weakest LMS team coming in, so I don't have huge expectations. I think with the super team of Flash Wolves, disintegrating apart, it does look like, LMS as a region. Not nearly as good, but yeah, I will say that logo does look a lot better than FLAMENGO.
Hey, you
eSports.
gotta give them the major shout-outs there for that point at least. But hey, major points here, not even having eSports. I don't know how.
Esportes.
I don't know how you're exactly going to want me to pronounce that one with the spelling that FLAMENGO's given us here, but there's no spelling in this one. Just a clean-cut, cool-looking logo here.
The dragon with attitude, man.
But of course, here the Hong Kong Attitude do have the opportunity here to make us eat our words a little bit here, type of situation. The LMS has certainly not exactly provided that type of situation very often recently, but I will be fair. We have seen a couple times here a little bit of that reminder here, a little bit of that pushback here still from these squads saying that there is still some talent here. And of course, Hong Kong Attitude gonna be coming through with that attitude into this play-in event here, looking to put down that beatdown and say, hey, this region, we're not dead yet. We still got the skill.
And the LMS loves to have old iconic mid laners come in as a coach. You saw Toys do it with G-Rex, and now it's Chawi, who is the coach of Hong Kong Attitude. And you saw Mission there popping off on the Corki. You saw that stat. 18 of his 31 games are Corki or Azir. That is just what you want.
That's some NA stuff over there.
Yeah, Corki Azir, baby. That meta might be sticking around here for Worlds. I don't have tons of faith in the Attitude getting out of groups. I think AHQ and J-Team actually look decent, but Hong Kong Attitude, big step below them.
Yeah, I think that is certainly the case there. Bringing up the rear here for the rest of the LMS, but hey, of course, anyone here in the play-ins still got your chance. Still hold on to that one and push on.
Yeah, there's always going to be madness in play-ins. Coming up after the break, we've got 3 more teams to go through, and there are some very familiar faces to the international stage from the OPL and Latin American scene. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us. As always, here on League Unlock, Eric and Mark, 3 teams to go in our preview of the play-in bonanza. We're talking minor regions, and there's a couple of familiar faces, starting with ISURUS Gaming, the champions from the Latin American scene, and obviously the main 2 everyone remembers are Sia and Audi because they've been around on Lion Gaming. They used to play on, at least Sia was on the high ELO Challenger streams way back in 2013 in North America. So these guys have been around a while.
We've seen Sia and Audi represent here for the region quite a few times here towards these play-in events and just come up short pretty much almost every single time.
Yeah, there was hype when they were Rainbow 7.
Absolutely, there was lots of hype. Man, I think I'm pretty sure here, if you go back almost 2 years, I would be saying that yes, absolutely, this is the time.
Buying into Rainbow 7.
Buying into a big-time investor coming up with absolutely nothing here for their appearances in the main draw. But this is the time here again in the play-ins that you can redeem it all here. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. Make the spiciness happen here. Make the upsets go through and move on here. Of course, these are your most established players here from the region here, of course, reaching such heights. But this is the time that you got to put it all on the line once again here, play-ins. Put that reputation on here and put on a show to try and get through to that main stage finally.
Yeah, and they dominated in that final matchup against All Knights to qualify here for Worlds. They have pretty much the exact same roster that they went 2-4 with in the play-ins at MSI this year. But you've already heard, Audi, challenger in Korea, 70% win rate. That's pretty quick, so obviously, it's pretty good. Is getting that more impressive than winning in the LLA?
I think the important question here is going to be, again, you're coming through with a team that has done their boot camp in Korea here as opposed to Europe here with a lot of the other teams in this type of situation could be coming through with their own meta here, as a lot of people are trying to say. I don't think that that's really going to emerge too much here, even given the separate regions here for the boot camp. But they will be coming in through here, looking to be in their hot form here through this play-in event, and are certainly going to need it here and rely upon the veterans, right, in Audi and in Seiya here, again, to try and push through this play-in stage. We need to see them through here. Been saying that so many years here and so many different iterations of this squad, but I want to see Seiya make it through here to the main stage, get him some of that spotlight.
I think it's a pretty stacked play-in group, actually, so I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. We have a new representative from the OPL. It is Mammoth, which, you know what, their logo is exactly what you would expect. It is a mammoth.
So the acronym that you're telling me is going to be MAM, of course.
You know what, that would make sense. But as you'll see the highlights.
Or maybe even like MTH, even like
MTH, but then it could be a moth, maybe. Maybe put moth and just be really confusing. But you'll see in the highlights what their acronym is. They swept the Chiefs in the finals. The Chiefs were actually looking really good. They had the MVP, Reyes as their AD carry. And the theme in all these play-ins is really the one team destroying a lot of these finals to actually qualify. And that is, how they got here. They were second in the regular season. They lost in that tiebreaker. And King and Triple, everyone will be familiar with on that international stage. They played on the Dire Wolves. And there it is, Mark. Triple M.
Really? What
a good play. That was tasty.
I tell you what, that's certainly not the right away here, the abbreviation that I'd be going through here to represent for this Mammoth squad. And hey, I'm going to shout out that logo there. That is an interesting color scheme that you're going with here for kind of the Mammoth, the woolly Mammoth.
I think it's because there wasn't any other orange in the OPL.
Gotta need your daily dose of orange here. Get that vitamin C, and Mammoth bringing you that vitamin C here, of course, here. Winning so much here in the playoffs, the way that they went through. Certainly the end here from the summer split. Got to be the best team representing here from the OPL. And if you remember here from MSI, we had been seeing the OPL become pretty close here to making it on through, pushing on.
They look great in some games, but then they're a coin flip region, it feels like.
Yeah, so still waiting on them to kind of put in some of that real-time spiciness and pressure towards more of these established minor region teams here and some of the rest here from the major regions looking to find that final spot at Worlds. So I'm not liking their chances, but hey, I'm still not throwing out anything here to the wayside. We saw here at MSI that this region can provide us some fires and upsets here. So hopefully we get that here from this Mammoth Triple M squad.
Yeah, they maybe come up with a Mammoth upset if they get out. The final team to look at is Mega eSports from the LST or Southeast Asia, and it's another team that we've seen at other international events. They've consistently dominated in their region, but they didn't finish first in the regular season, but they swept in the grand finals. This used to be Ascension Gaming, who we've seen at MSI. Mega, we saw at MSI again this year, and Ascension played, at the Worlds before, but Lloyd, who was their AD carry, now he's a jungler, and in one split, they win the title again. It's just like Perks.
Now,
Perks
this
in G2.
is a situation where Lloyd's pretty much almost played every single role.
Just third
professionally.
professional role.
Third professional role here. Mans is making his way on through. You got to think at this point, come on, you've played this many professional games this long in your career. You can easily knock off the other two roles, no questions asked. And that doesn't have to be this tournament, of course, but I'm pretty sure
it has to be at Worlds.
Come on, you got to be able to play support at the very least. You throw him on Janna at this point, come on.
All he's got to do is save support for that cycle completion, and then when he feels like it's nearing the end of his career, you role swap to support, and you play the Tom Kench. But those are your 9 teams for play-ins. Actually, the most stacked field we've probably seen, which keeps with the theme at this Worlds. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you guys next time.